speaking of scent, odor is all related to particulates in the air. It's a little bit
Yeah.
of science lesson for you. So when you smell poop, there is poop. Just pointing that out.
Okay. Well, you know what's funny is I knew that, but now I really know that. Welcome to
Yeah.
Pros Talking Prose, where we speak books and talk shop and maybe talk a little bit out of turn. This is Troy. He is the illustrious editor, publishing coach, plot doctor, you name it, he does it. And then there's me, Stacey, also publishing coach and editor extraordinaire. We are, I guess we could call ourselves publishers now. We're publishers as well. So we're very excited about the upcoming new year. And we're just hopeful for the future. I think that's kind of going to be the message of today is we're gonna break down a few things that I
Hmm.
think people doomsday about, and we're going to give you hope for the future. And I think that's what we kind of need at this time
Hmm.
and this day and age. So I'm happy to provide. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and follow. We would love to have you as part of our discourse team. Like, give us some feedback. Let us know what you like and
Yeah.
don't like. We would be happy to shape our chats around topics that you might suggest. So feel free to dive into the comments and let us know what you think about
Yeah. And
this
what's up,
world.
Texas? I hope
What's
you're
up,
listening to
Texas?
this one too.
Yeah, I hope he
What's up,
is.
Texas?
Texas. I love that
I'm
guy.
telling you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to see
Anyway.
them. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to talk to you guys today about this topic again, but we kind of needed to talk about this
Yes.
a little bit because we noticed a few things. And I guess I'll preface this a little bit with something that may shock a few of you. I don't know any of you who might know Joanna Penn, and I don't think she'll be too upset about me bringing her into this conversation. She's an amazing, talented, um, humble individual who just knows her stuff. Okay, and she's been around the business for decades now. She's definitely one of those people I would consider an authority when it comes to indie publishing. I think she knows this business probably better than most that have been in the industry for years. She is an amazing human, and she would also be probably the first person to admit that she doesn't know everything. She's really a great individual. And we had the opportunity to sit down and kind of shoot the breeze with her, to be able to have the opportunity to sit down with that woman, first of all, and just be human for a minute was amazing and surreal. But she should know. I don't know. I didn't tell her, but I absolutely idolize her. So anyway, we were sitting there and she mentioned that she was one of the speakers, of course, and she mentioned that she has lost a significant amount of followers in the last year or so. And she also mentioned that in during the conference that a couple people she noticed walked out of her presentation, which, by the way, she was booked like the biggest room. She's usually one of those fill the room kind of girls. She has quite a draw. She doesn't have a draw. She's British. She has the very nice.
She's British. She has no
She's
draw.
she has no
There's no
draw.
draw.
But anyway, she has quite the draw. And she mentioned that she was kind of saddened about losing followers and losing some attendees in her presentation, and she knows that it's specifically around her use of AI as a tool. Now, she does not write using AI, guys. She is not. She is a writer. She is an author through and through. Like, she writes her stuff. But she does advocate for using AI to make your business a little more efficient. And
Hmm.
she has talked about this at length, and it has caused her to lose followers, which frankly, it doesn't surprise me, but at the same time, it surprises me. And Troy has lost followers and gotten
Yeah.
hate mail over, bringing up his
A similar stance on
approach, right,
AI,
to AI.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not yet experienced this. Don't go hating on me now because you think I need to hear it. I'm just letting you know I haven't heard anything yet. But it's mostly because my approach, I think, also has been very much use it as a tool. I am not I'm not advocating for authors who cosplay as authors and write using AI totally and fully and not enjoying the creative and the creative process. It is a labor of love. And if you are not doing it, then you're not an author, in my opinion. But that being said, Troy and I have, especially as we embark on this publishing adventure, traditionally publishing books as well as indie publishing books, we're seeing a shift in the tides. Does that make sense? The publishing tides are
Hmm.
often shifting. They shift from day to day to day. No joke. Last this time, not this time, but about April of 2024, I nearly quit this business specifically because of a shift that happened that I thought would completely tank my business and take away an edge that I had been utilizing for years. I'm glad I stuck it out. I'm glad I stuck around and figured it out. But it's interesting because that happened in 2024, and in just last week I noticed that that very reason I was about to leave the business is actually back. And it's actually back in play. So it's kind of one of those things where you have to
Hmm.
understand like things are constantly in an ebb and flow in this business. There's nothing that stays the same. So change is the theme. Okay. And one of the
Hmm.
themes is this emerging technology called AI. And I'm going to have Troy because he knows about AI way more than I do. He's more of an expert at this. But I'm going to have you, Troy, kind of break down what AI actually is and how it's misconstrued to be this bad guy. I want people to actually understand what AI actually is. Is it artificial intelligence?
Mm. So, okay. So I'm gonna back up just a little bit to say that so recently in the last week, and this is really what I want to get to talking about, is that
Yeah.
I heard one of these doomsday theories
Yeah.
about AI, and but it came from someone that I respect a great deal, who's a very large authority in the publishing industry. But I think in this case, I don't think that particular person is wrong, but I think their perspective of what the outcome of AI being used in this particular way is going to do. Now, and I've heard this from another person too, and I really just feel like this is something we need to stop and examine and talk about from a viewpoint of hope instead of from a viewpoint of it being a
I
tragedy. But
agree.
all that being said, so AI is not intelligence in the way that we would classify intelligent. My German Shepherd is more intelligent than an AI when it comes to general intelligence. Now, when it comes to the managing of data in a large language model, my German Shepherd is not more intelligent than an AI, simply because he can make decisions. There's things he can do that an AI cannot do, but he does not have the vast vocabulary and knowledge that an AI has access to in order to basically produce something predictive that it thinks that you will like. Okay, so And this is what we have to understand about AI. AI is a generative tool, but it's also one that's very good at one thing, really. And that one thing is absorbing and handling data and then processing that data into some kind of result. Now, AI is beginning to hallucinate less than it did at the initial outset, but it still hallucinates. It still makes things up because overall, what it wants to do is make you, the user, happy with the results of whatever it produces. And it wants to, it never wants to come up with the answer, I don't know or I'm not sure. And people have had, and now people are having conversations with AI. They're using AI as a therapist, which I think has
Bad.
positive and negative
Oh, it's
impacts,
negative.
but I think a large part of those impacts are negative
Bad.
because AI does not, no matter how much you explain your past to AI, it doesn't have a full understanding of who you are as a person. There's a certain amount of humanity that is missing. Stacey and I were watching some music videos that were created using AI on YouTube, and the primary fault in every one of those videos was the lack of humanity and the lack of feeling. Normally, a lot of times I'll watch a music video and I will get a feeling from that. Now, sometimes I will not because it's a crappy human made video, right? And they don't know what they're doing. But if you used AI instead of creating people talking because it looks really cool, and created imagery that evoked emotion instead, you could make a really great music video using AI. But AI does not, in and of itself, understand the emotion and how to convey that in an accurate manner. Okay, that's my personal opinion. That's part of the AI thing. But the technology that's happening now is that, and has been happening for a while, but it's getting better, is that AI can tell stories to a certain extent, right? It can tell stories. Now, those stories don't have the emotional impact, they don't have the human impact, but it can tell a good story. So there are a few companies that are developing programs. And what's funny about this whole thing, so I'll back up even a little further, is about probably about 4 years ago, maybe Alex Newton of Kalytics put out he every year he puts out a April Fool's joke, and usually it is epic and it's pretty believable, and people fall for it almost every year. And this particular year, like he got a lot of backlash because he said, "Hey, Amazon has come up with this cool new program. You basically go on to Amazon and you tell it what kind of story you want, and you create your own novel." And people were like, "What?"
Sorry about that.
Now there are companies that are developing this technology where you go in and you enter a genre, you enter a subgenre, you enter the type of hero you want, you enter some details about the story, and the AI generates a story for you. And those stories are becoming more and more passable. So this particular person basically said that within 2 to 5 years, this is going to be the future of storytelling, and it's going to be as big a revolution as the indie revolution was in 2007. And that people are just going to go on and to these various programs and pay 2.99 and create their own story generated for them, and then they're going to be able to share that story with their friends and stuff like that. And that this is going to be the future of reading and of creating books. And that so that becoming a full-time author, even though that's very hard to do now, is going to be even harder then in
Mm-hmm.
that version of the future. And then he outlined a number of things that you need to do as an author to protect yourself and to still be able to make a living in this time period, and how it's going to be almost impossible for someone that's new to break in and make a living in that particular world, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the presentation. And my immediate thought was, no way. This is the same argument that people have been using for a while. And I'm not saying that no one will go on and create their own books and their own stories, but there's a couple of major problems with that vision of the future.
Mhm.
I think. And I'll let you weigh in on these as I go through them. But the first problem is that AI, when it tells a story, the same as when it creates a music video or even creates a song, and people have seen AI songs, right? But they lack that humanity, that emotion. Is basically that it lacks that humanity and that character and emotion. Now, the counter argument to that is that not every reader is inspired by character driven stories. Some of them just want a narrative that's pretty cool. So, and it's a passable story. So that's the first point that I think that I don't think this is going to take off in quite the way that people's going to think it's going to take off. The same way I don't think that AI music is going to take off in the way people think it's going to take off
I'll tell you
because it
why
doesn't
I
evoke the same emotion.
I'll tell you why I totally agree with that. And here's and I'm willing to do this exam as a test. Like it would be an interesting kind of test to see if it works. But I suggested when Troy and I were doing this music video thing that it would be a really good test to see if I can tell the difference in AI generated music from human generated music. Even in the world that we live in where things are
Hmm.
kind of over processed and everything, probably making Prince turn around in his grave over and over again. Even though that we're doing that today, I would say that often, more than often, I can feel the passion and power that comes through a human created song. Um, Good example, the punk rock era was amazing, and of course, it like literally fed this rebel life, right? Like this anti-establishment, screw
Hmm.
authority kind of life. And there's one particular song that acts like I love it. It's a banger. Every time I listen to it, I like have to stop what I'm doing and I have to scream it because it's such a good song. But she hates me and I love it. It's such a good song.
Hmm.
And
Oh yeah.
the video is just amazing because it's just these young men and a young girl, and some of the faces are kind of familiar, but they're all just in anguish. And it's just I mean, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about right now, but it makes me just love that song because it's just we've all felt that way. We've all felt rejected and how it just rips our heart out, and it's an amazing song. Um Also, another good example, AJR, really like completely computer generated songs, right? Like his band is all just keyboards, like and repeaters and stuff.
Hmm.
And he does an amazing job making music from this technology, but it's still his voice and it's still his heart in that music. He's not generating music by
Absolutely.
AI. So when I'm listening to AJR and I'm listening about, you know, I'm not famous, like that song, like it's amazing. It just makes it's happy. It's like, yeah, I'm not famous and I don't care. Like, and it's just and you just feel so like
Yeah.
uplifted and you feel like I'm on the same page as you. I get this. And AI can't generate that. And it's the same thing with books. I have a really good friend. I brought her up before. She's my best friend. She's a voracious reader. She reads more than I do. And I tell people she reads more than I do, and I read professionally. And she's a therapist also. So she abhors the idea of people getting therapy on, not because she's out of business. Like honestly, people she she's got more business than she needs
Hmm.
or that she can deal with. But what I'm saying is like it's abhorrent because she knows that what goes into her training, and also she understands how to read human cues that AI can't read.
Hmm.
So you can lie to an AI and it will tell you what you want to hear. I had a client today just tell me that she says
Hmm.
she hates using Chat GPT to get ideas because she says I'll throw a paragraph of my text in there and I'll ask it like, can you tell me what this needs to do to improve. And the AI will be like, this is a fabulous paragraph that just talks about how happy you are. And this is just wonderful. And she's like, I don't know how to keep this thing from telling me I'm fabulous. And I'm like, tell it to tell you to stop. Tell it to stop. You have to tell it. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. You have, when you're working with AI, your prompts have to be very, 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 very specific. The more specific, the better they are, the better the
Mm-hmm.
result. But it's like AI using for therapy, it's AI for writing books, it's AI. You, if you're going to have to write a prompt that is just stellar for a book to come out even halfway decent, why don't you spend that time writing the damn book yourself? Like, put your own freaking heart
Right.
into it. Like, where are, if, yeah, okay, maybe you have, maybe you're not, maybe English is your second language and you don't know how to articulate things very well. Or maybe you like stumble or fumble over, grammar rules. That is all stuff that can be fixed. But the story, that is essential
Mm-hmm.
for a writer to be called a writer. And I'm totally on board with Russell Nolte and his idea about this. But basically, AI writing books is literally just allowing you to cosplay as an author. You're not really an author. You are not an author if you use AI
Yeah.
to write your book. And there's a big
Well,
problem
and
with
this
this
is
as
one thing that
well.
that person talked about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll go
Oh,
into
yeah,
this
well,
later, but there's the copyright issue, of course, we'll bring up
yeah.
later. But what I'm talking about with
Well, yeah.
specifically with this, what you were mentioning, is just I don't see that as an issue going forward, because I don't think that that vision of the future is actually what we're going to actually see happen, because there's two sides to this coin. There's the writer side, which again, heart, soul to tell a story, but there's also a reader side, guys. And readers
Mm-hmm.
are, right now, readers are very anti AI. Like, so much so that if you even tell them you used a tool, they will reject you. So you have to understand that
Mm-hmm.
the 99% of readers out there that actually read books, these people that read books and listen to books, these people don't want to be told a story by a computer.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so there's two aspects of it. First of all, you're right. People don't want to be told a story by a computer, just like I don't want a computer to sing me a song because a
Right.
computer doesn't feel, right? Is
Right.
exactly how you're saying is the emotion comes through. But
Right.
let's say we can put aside that argument for a minute and say that that people will accept stories that are written by AI. The AI will get good enough that it writes stories that are passable stories that people can enjoy, and that people will pay money for those ahead of human written stories. I know, stick out your tongue, but it's okay. But let's I'm going to just give them that argument for just for the sake of moving on to the second part of the argument. I don't believe that it's true, but to move on to the second part of the argument, reading books is social.
Mm-hmm.
So, how many people out there have you experienced Dungeon Crawler Carl yet?
You and Jim introduced this to me.
Yes. And but here's the thing, okay? This was a very niche, basically very niche lit RPG that blew up that now everybody is listening to, right? So to the point where I have seen bumper stickers that say, "God damn it, donut," right? And if you know Dungeon Crawler Carl, you know that phrase. So if you
Hmm.
see somebody in a Dungeon Crawler Carl's t-shirt and you go, "God damn it, donut," they will know exactly what you're talking about because reading is social.
Right.
When we went and saw Potted Potter,
Potted
right? The
Potter.
Harry Potter thing in Vegas, right? And if you knew Harry Potter, all the references they did on stage were things that you got and understood
And laughed.
because we had a shared
Hmm.
knowledge of Harry Potter.
Hmm.
We get that shared knowledge by all reading the book. So the argument that these people could create with a prompt, with just a few questions of a prompt, could have AI create a story for them and they could share it with their friends, then at that point they become the author sharing a book with their friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not, to this point, nor have I seen a valid argument enough to see a point where AI would write a book well enough from an amateur prompting it through a form of some sort that would create a book that is worth sharing.
Right.
Because,
Right.
like, we were talking about, so like Vincent and I were talking the other day about John Irving, and immediately one of my favorite books came to mind because John Irving wrote one of my favorite books. We were talking about, so there's this social thing of, have you read the newest book? Have you read the newest Lee Child, Jack Reacher story? Have
Yeah.
you read the latest James Patterson, Alex Cross story? Because it's a social thing. But the problem is, these little books can't go far enough socially. But what is far enough socially? So let's step that back to what Johnny Truant talked about that we've had on this show. What do you need to actually have a viable career as an author? You need 1,000 fans that are dedicated, right? If you get 10,000 fans that are dedicated to you after out of all of those in the world, you are a extremely well off author,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the one thing that this person said that was true is that your name as an author will be more important than it ever was. But we were just talking, Stacey and I were just talking before this to our marketing gal.
Yep.
And we were talking about how building community and building a name, how people get excited over being a part of your community, even if that community is made up of 300 people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you can find 300 people that love your books in the world, suddenly you're actually making decent money. If you can find 500, it's even better. If you can find 1,000 that are dedicated, they'll be getting their friends to buy your books. She has things with her husband's books, which she's going to be working for a publishing company, but she has things with her husband's books where people are saying, are checking in with them. How many books have we sold this week? How can we help you sell more books?
I love
Right?
the whole,
That is the future of authorship.
yeah.
That's the future of authorship. But it's what we've been saying for like the last probably 3 to 5 years. A lot of people have been talking about this, how rapid release is not going to work for you as well anymore. And switching pen names every 5 minutes to write to market to whatever happens to be selling at the moment is also not going to work for you anymore. The reason is because that's not what a sustainable career is made up of a fan base that
Mhm.
follows you,
That's exactly
that
it.
likes your books.
100%
So, an
yes.
AI is not going to give them that. They cannot watch AI box up their order and ship it to them on TikTok. That on TikTok Shop, they can't do it because that's not how AI works. So maybe AI books, if they become good enough at some point, will take a portion of the ebook alone market. But that's not going to affect authors that have built this community. And it's not going to affect a new author who comes up and chooses to build a community around their work.
Right.
This is the part of the Troy rant that I'm just going to get a little excited about because that the doom and gloom of this is hopeless and in 2 to 5 years you will not be able to do this is an absolutely false narrative.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that in 2 to 5 years publishers like the one that we're founding will not exist because there will be AI tools that can create personalized books for people is just a fake. It's not even a false narrative because I don't think it's necessarily the people even that are saying it are considering it to be false or that those machines will not exist. But I don't think that those machines will succeed because what writing and reading about is about, as I often say, is thinking and feeling, and those are things that AI cannot do. It
I'll
does
tell you
not think
this.
and it does not feel.
I'll tell you why this is what my hope, this is my hope for the future. And this is, if you're an author watching this is what I hope you get. This is your takeaway is understanding. again, the theme of change here. So AI is a tool that is changing the landscape or changing the tides in the pool. Okay. Does that mean that the it's going to upend and completely rewrite the rules? Probably not. But what it will do is it will cause the people who are involved to adjust and to pivot in a way that will again connect humans with humans. There is a movie, and I'm
Mhm.
sure it's based on a book, and I can't remember what it was, but it was always like life will find a way. It was like the theme of the story, and I can't remember what
Mhm.
it was. It was like,
I don't remember which movie that was,
yeah,
but
but it was like that was kind of the thing where it was like, oh, maybe it was Jurassic Park. Maybe it was Jurassic Park, but it was
mm,
basically kind of like showing you that like life will figure it out. Life will find a way. We will adjust
mhm,
and we will make this. But the thing about humans and human nature is that we are very good at adapting and changing to work within the environment and inside the rules that we are given. And the thing about technology is that we are the creators of this technology, which means that we get to ultimately make the rules about how this works, and you can choose how to use it and how not to use it. The thing about it is, though, is that those who do not adapt, those who do not change, are the ones that get killed off by the saber-toothed lion, right? Or the saber-toothed tiger. Those are the ones that get
mhm,
eaten. So what you have to understand is that in this industry, and this is one of the reasons why Troy and I have much hope for the future, is because we're not looking at it the way that our fellow publishers have been working this system for the last 300 years. We're not going to publish that way. We're not going to even publish the same way that they've been
mhm,
publishing in the last 30 years. We're not going to publish the same way they've been publishing in the last 10 or 5 years. Troy and I are looking at this publishing market as a way and an opportunity to take advantage of things that other publishers have not thought about because they're locked into this old way of thinking,
mhm.
which, by the way, is very pretentious. It lacks
Well,
and it
and
lacks
here's
heart because they don't want to learn. But the thing is that when you focus in on the people, the relationships, the actual reason people read,
yes.
then unlock the you can unlock the potential that exists inside this world and inside this industry. And I think that's the problem is right
Well,
now
yeah,
too many people locked in on, oh my gosh, this isn't going to work. And they're not seeing that like, break the egg, people. Like,
right. And
break the egg.
here's the other thing. Okay, so here's the other thing about it is that we wore shirts at Author Nation that said your story
Your
matters.
story matters.
And here's the thing: authentic, genuine, honest, truthful, and open stories will always make it.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And here's part of the reason why. Like we see things like books like All the Light We
We
Cannot
cannot
See,
see.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That was yeah,
Shout out to Anthony
anyway,
Doerr.
that particular book. Yeah. Sh- Shout out to Anthony Doerr, but also the reason that book made it, that is not a genre fiction
Nope.
book that somehow rocketed to the top of the charts. It is a human story. One of my
Mm-hmm.
favorite memoirs, Educated,
Mm-hmm.
is a human story. The reason that is so popular is because we can all see elements of ourselves and our lives in that,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is it because it's a story that we can relate to. Okay. So it's not just a narrative of events. And that's what AI is going to produce from those prompts. It's going to produce a narrative of events. It's a narrative, it's a story. It has a beginning, middle, and end. But it doesn't have that human element that makes it go, oh, that's why we love that story. Like Nicholas Sparks has tons of books. Why is The Notebook so popular? Because we've all seen relatives that struggled with or struggled with aging together or whatever the case may be, and we go, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that is something I can relate to." So even if you don't like Nicholas Sparks, like me, or you don't like romantic stories, he doesn't write romances, he writes romantic stories. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. But even if you don't like him, you probably like that particular story. It's relatable, right? The best stories, the ones we remember, are the ones that are relatable. So I mean, I just don't see AI taking the place of that. Now, I could be wrong, and maybe in 5 years I'll be completely out of a job and I won't know what in the world else to do, right? But I think if you are working to build community and connection with your readers, and you're working to be a part of this authentic storytelling world, I don't think you've got a thing to worry about. I
I
really
agree.
don't.
I agree. I think that maybe the only thing you have to worry about are your own biases preventing you from taking
Hmm.
and changing and adjusting. That's the thing that I think a lot of people should understand about this. One of the things, I mean, completely unrelated to books, but very related to this whole issue is I have a really my nail technician. He is an amazing guy. Like he's a Capricorn, first of all. And those people, if you have a Capricorn in your life, God love you. Those people are insane, but they're highly driven individuals. He is very, very, very driven. He runs his mother's nail salon and he does nails in that salon for he's amazingly artistic and beautiful. He does beautiful work. He hates his job. I mean, I love him to pieces, but he does not enjoy what he does. I think that a lot of times he gets, I mean, he does put a lot of good work in and he does a good job and I think he takes pride in what he does, but I don't think he enjoys it. I think it's kind of one of those things that he just does it because he's running his mother's salon, right? But the thing about him that is interesting is that he day trades and he's always into self-improvement. And one of the other day I went in and had him be my therapist for an hour, right? And we were talking and we talk philosophically, we talk about business, we talk about all kinds of things. And he shares some really amazing ideas, but he had recently heard something or saw something or read something about the outlook going forward and he was absolutely depressed. He was probably one of the lowest times I've seen him be. And it was because he was thinking about AI and how it is disconnecting us from from each other. And there was probably something that he heard and in the outlook of it that was kind of making him sound like, humanity is becoming even more and more disconnected. It's true. I mean, people who are addicted to social media and
Hmm.
stuff, they get a little bit, they kind of fail to understand that they're not the center of the universe and they act really stupid and say stupid things and don't really realize how to connect with humans anymore. But anyway, it's totally true and AI can really disrupt that if people let it. But again, I had to remind this guy and I'm going to remind you if you kind of are stuck in this like little cyclone of depression that there is a whole world outside of this outlook. There's a whole world out here
Hmm.
that is full of people that are very happy to connect with the person that you are. And you will find your tribe if you stop looking at a computer for that reassurance or that friendship or that kinship.
Hmm.
You're not going to find a great therapist in an AI. So sorry.
Hmm.
You're not going to find a good friend in an AI. You're not going to find that quality or that feeling or that purpose with an AI. So and we look at stories and storytelling as a way for us to connect with other humans. Like Troy said, the number one rule for branding in this business, and this is your takeaway, your brand is you. Your brand is your author brand. It is you. It is not your book. The brand
Hmm.
is not the book. The brand is you, the author. And as difficult as it is for certain authors who are very introverted to understand, that is that is the truth of it. The most successful authors in this
Hmm.
business are the authors that figure this out and figure out how to connect with their audience personally. You have to do that. So to be successful. So my point is that people are not going to connect to your book. They're going to connect to you through your book. And that's a big difference.
Hmm.
So the outlook is bright if you look outside of your door and kind of
Yeah.
explore what this world has to offer.
Hmm.
Look at
Well, we've
AI as
talked
a
about it
tool.
before, but I mean, I really want to emphasize that the easiest way to stand out in a world filled with AI is to very simply be human
Be human.
and be genuine. And I did a talk on this at a conference, an online conference, probably a couple months ago now. And it was one of the top and most popular talks at the conference because people just wanted to hear, like, how do
It's
you
okay.
stand out? How do you
Yeah.
make yourself be different in AI? And I'm like, don't be an AI. Don't
Yeah.
let the AI do everything for you. Be a human being.
Do you know,
Be present.
do you want to
Be
hear something?
aware. Be connected.
You want to hear
I
something pretty
mean,
amazing?
yeah.
Is my best friend again, her daughters read as much as my best friend reads, her daughters read even more. And one particular day I was talking to them and they said, "You know what I love to see and hear nowadays?" And I'm like, "What's that?" And she goes, "When I'm reading a book or I'm listening to an audiobook, I like to hear the mistake because then I know it was a human."
Hmm.
I like to hear
It's a
the
human
catch in
being
their
that's doing it.
voice. Yeah. I like to hear the catch in the voice, or
Yeah.
I like to see the typo. She goes, if I see the typo, then I'm like, okay, this wasn't AI. It was like they feel better about it.
Hmm.
So they look for those things. So if you're depressed because you think AI is going to replace you, I promise you, like I said before, and I'm going to say it again, the readers are the ones that buy the books, and the readers are not going to want a computer to talk to them. They don't want a computer to talk to them.
Yeah.
If they wanted a computer to talk to them, then they would,
Authenticity.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because otherwise,
Authenticity is going to win the day
it's going to win the day
every time.
every
Every
single
time.
time.
And this, the what's just so amusing to me is that this has been true for years.
Yeah,
That,
forever.
like, being hiding in a hole and in a tower and handing down your manuscript to the waiting, eager masses for them to devour has been a myth for a long time. The people that were successful with like rapid release and stuff like that, even temporarily, or chasing the latest trend in the market, the reason they were successful at all is because they learned to talk to the machine,
Mhm.
not because they learned to talk to the humans. They wrote, in many cases, what are very forgettable books where you read them and you don't remember a dang thing about them.
Right.
And the reason is, yeah, it was a story. Yeah, it was a fast-paced story, but like there was nothing human in it, nothing that connected with me, and nothing that caused me to go, oh, I remember that book. Now, was that temporary satisfaction? Yeah. Did those people make money? Yep. So if there's AI tools that are going to write books like that, are they going to make money? Yep. Are those going to be satisfying books to those people? No. And I don't want to write unsatisfying, vapid, crappy books that just satisfy someone for a moment and then they move on. I want to impact their lives. That's what we want to do as authors. And the way to do that is be authentic and connected and communicating for real. So stop the madness with, and look, if you want to draft your book with AI and then spend horrendous amounts of time revising it to make it more human, you can absolutely get a good output like that. I I actually love revisions, but I love revising my own work. Revising someone else's work feels like editing. Um that's what revising AI feels like to me, right? Is it feels like I'm working on someone else's work because it doesn't have the element of my voice and my touch in it. Okay. So personally, I don't want to do that. But if you want to do that to add the humanity to your books, hey, knock yourself out. But
Also, if you're that
if you skip that step and don't add that humanity to your books, my goodness. I mean, if you love revision so much more than you love the writing process,
we got a job
hey,
for you.
knock yourself out. That's not me.
You could
You know what
work
I
as an
mean? Like
editor.
that's
You
I'm
don't
not going
have
to
to,
do that.
yeah, you don't have to work.
Mhm.
You don't have to do that for yourself. You can do that for,
But
you know,
I mean, this is just it's another argument for genuine connection and genuine humanity, and doing this on a small scale with those that you can reach and that you can touch and that you can get onto your list and that you can spend time with. Like it's not going to end you up in the New York Times bestseller list, but you're going to make a living, right? And really, you're going to impact those people's lives more
much
than if you
better.
sold a
Yeah.
million empty, vapid titles on, Amazon for whatever amount of money.
You know what?
That part really doesn't matter.
I've
So,
heard
yeah.
something. I mean, just to illustrate even more, even deeper than what Troy is actually saying. But I don't know. Many of you, you've probably heard this said before, but and I usually hear it in true crime, but a lot of times people will say that you can't make this stuff up. Like this, I mean, like people, if
Mhm.
I tried to pitch this to a book company or to a, a movie company, they wouldn't believe me. They would say it's unbelievable. And but it's true life, right? Like it's true, it's a true story. It's what really happened. That's interesting if you think about it in the concept of AI and how it creates, it's going to create something that's not going to be true to life if you really think about it, because the true to life stuff, the stuff that we experience in our lives that inspire the stories, that's the stuff that makes you go, what the hell? And AI doesn't do
Well,
what the
yes,
hell.
and and here's another thing that I thought of earlier, and I just want to emphasize this. You people that just want to write, you authors who just want to write really weird shit that you don't feel like there's a place for in the market. Listen, when I was listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl on the way down to Vegas and on the way back, let me tell you the one thing that I learned from that is that AI would never come up with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
It is wackadoodle crazy, which is beautiful, which makes it fantastic writing. Now, I mean, I'll preface this that normally I would not, Dungeon Crawler Carl would not be my genre, not be the first thing I would pick up. But
Right.
my friend was so excited about it.
Yeah.
And now I've listened to the audio of the entire first book. And I really do think there is some fantastic writing in there. It
Uh-huh.
is humorous, it is funny. But the biggest, most important thing is that it is human
Yeah.
and that there is no way that an AI would come up with that wackadoodle idea, right? And write Dungeon Crawler Carl. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't duplicate that because a human brain came up with something sick and twisted and completely wacko, and we all went, "Yeah, I'm here for that." Right? So
Yeah.
you want to write weird stuff? Some of the books and stories I've written in the past, there's no way AI is going to come up with that, right?
Yeah.
There's no way because
I
it's
don't even
too
think,
wacky.
I
It's
think
too
hit
out there.
you
AI
hit
is
one of
going
your
to follow a
favorites.
formula. You're going to give it a prompt and it's going to follow a formula. Now, if you're a Danielle Steele fan and you
Yeah,
like
sure.
every book to be exactly the same,
Then go for it.
knock yourself out. That's going to be amazing for you. But for many readers, they're looking for that thing that is unique, that stands out from the other things that are like it.
Yeah,
And that's going to be human written books.
one of your own favorite, like, well, I mean, I mean, you emulate, right, the dude from The Big Lebowski, like that. There's no way an AI would even remotely come up with a story like The Big
Yeah, come
Lebowski.
up with that plot
Yeah, that's
and that
crazy.
story and those characters.
Those
I mean, when
characters.
you have a character that is just out there, because the thing is, like, what happens is, especially when you're a new writer, you tend to write to tropes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which are these formulaic things, right? And AI fully understands tropes,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it doesn't understand how to break the trope and give that trope something unique, something different. I was in an anthology years ago called Dragonthology, And one of my favorite of the stories was, it was basically a dragon private investigator, was an old noir private investigator, only the private investigator was a dragon, right? And he was like uh and this woman walked into his office and he said one of us was going to die of smoking and it wasn't going to be me. And I mean, it was just like, because he's a dragon, so he's smoking, right? It's one of my favorite lines ever. But I'm like, also, who casts a dragon as a PI? You know? But it was a great crossover type thing that was like, what in the world? AI is not going to come up with that, right? Because it's
No.
too out there, it's too unique. So if you like formulaic books and you don't like anything too unique, hey, keep watching Hollywood movies and read AI generated books.
Right, the
You'll
Hollywood
be
stuff.
happy.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
You'll be happy. Hollywood's making sequels or remakes,
Yeah,
and then I mean, so whatever. Stick with that, and you'll be fine. You'll
you'll be
like it. But
fine. Yeah.
me, that's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, no,
Anyway,
me neither. Me neither.
so
So yeah, so I guess the overall theme and the takeaway of this podcast today is just don't don't if you feel like you're getting sucked into this doom and gloom attitude, please go outside and inhale some good air. Enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday coming up, and remember that is the reason we celebrate Thanksgiving in the US is specifically because it's it's the it's the best time of year to get in a fight with your holiday relatives. And just remember that all of us have very differing opinions, and it's okay, and we love each other for whatever reason. And it's a chance for you to get some more ideas from some stories, but you're only going to get that from being with people. And just stop getting sucked
mhm.
into this idea that the publishing industry or the book industry is going to be, going down the toilet, because that is not what's going to happen. it's
Yeah.
it's going to be the opposite. What's going to happen is the people involved, the people that are looking for life to find a way, are going to find that way. And
Mhm.
so
Oh,
sorry about.
and I'll just while Stacy pauses about her dogs, I'll just say this: don't let someone who is down and who is negative about the future of publishing steal away your hope.
Exactly.
Because hope is, first of all, one of the reasons that we write fiction. I talk about this all the time. We write because of hope, right? To give people hope that
Right.
dragons can be slain, that ordinary people can, that criminals get caught, that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. That's what we
Right.
write for,
That we
is
change.
hope.
That we
But
change.
it's also, we write because we have hope. We're going to adapt to the future, whatever that future looks like with AI or whatever the case may be. And yeah, okay, voice may be a bigger thing than, and audio may be a bigger thing than print going forward.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
who cares? Adapt and tell your stories in a different way. And I guarantee you that reading will always be around. We've heard dozens of times in my lifetime how reading is just going to end. People are not going to read anymore. It's just not going to
Yeah.
happen. They're not going to do it. They're
People are
only
going to
going to
stop
listen to
reading.
audiobooks. They're only going to read ebooks, and paperbacks won't exist, and all that kind of stuff. And I have physical evidence on my desk that paperbacks still exist. I mean, and that they're extremely
And
popular,
that people
right?
want
Like
that
this is just,
physical. Yeah.
it's another moment in the history of not in only writing and publishing, but in the history of storytelling, which is much longer than both of those things, when people are going to say for a few moments, stories don't matter.
Right.
And I'm here to tell you, your story matters, and
Hmm.
our stories matter. And no
Hmm.
matter what AI does in the future, they always will.
They always will. Because story is how we learn, guys. It's how we as humans
Mhm.
learn and grow and become better societies and continue to thrive. It's when we stop learning and growing and changing that we die. So really, in all honesty, if
Mhm.
you want, yeah, you're going to have to adjust. You're going to have to pivot. I've been saying this forever, like, and people don't like to hear it. Like, you have to kind of find a way to live in coexist in a world where AI exists, because it does, guys. It just, I hate to say it, it's there, and
Mhm.
it permeates every part of your life. In fact, Troy was even joking around. He says that one guy wrote him an insult or something about how AI, like, I'm not following you anymore because you use AI, and he was writing it on Facebook.
You're writing it on Facebook, asking people to buy your book on Amazon,
On
which the
Amazon
whole Amazon algorithm is
is
AI.
AI.
And you're like,
TikTok,
why isn't this AI on Amazon working for me?
yeah, you're on
Why isn't this
TikTok.
Facebook AI is burying my
Or
content? But
you're
I'm
on
not going to
TikTok
do
and going,
business with
I hate
somebody who works on
AI.
AI.
Yeah, like, I'm not using
Oh, yeah.
AI. Nobody use
My
AI. We're
favorite
on
is
TikTok.
people. Oh yeah, my favorite is people on social media who are talking about how much they hate social media, and I'm like, or they post that I'm leaving social media, and I'm like, this is not an airport. You don't have to announce your departure. Get out. No one cares.
It's so funny, but just
I mean,
like
I'm like,
understand like how
it's funny.
hypocritical your life is when you say, I'm not gonna help, I don't want to have anything to do with AI, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. I don't want to touch it. That's fine. You can have that. Draw lines in the sand if you want to, but like understand and know that it's here, and you can't be completely devoid of it. So instead, learn to coexist with it, because your phone,
Well,
if you
you
have one of these
can.
bad boys, it is listening to you right now and learning as you speak. So this thing
Yeah,
right here in your
you
hand,
can have a flip phone.
you can have,
I mean, you can have a flip
go get a
phone and a
Nokia,
landline.
right?
And
And a
don't ever say
typewriter,
anything in a public place
right?
where anybody's phone is
Don't
listening to
and
you
don't
or
drive,
whatever. I mean,
because
there's so many things. Yeah, don't drive a car that was built after 1991.
or drive down the street where the lights are
Avoid
on a
all,
system. The
yeah,
lights, your
avoid all
street
traffic
lights.
cameras at all costs. So yeah, I mean
Just be
the thing
careful what you
is that,
say.
well, yeah, and AI in the form of large language models has been in our life already for at
About
least a
10,
few
15.
decades.
Yeah, at least I've been using
Well,
it as an editor for at least 10 years, with tools that we've used for editing.
well, and even before that,
I
with
know before
even
that there
early
were.
word processors and stuff like that, there was like, so, and for 20, 25 years, we've been using something that is derivative of a large language model. Now, the large language models were smaller, the
Mhm.
processing speeds were slower, but it
Right.
was still happening.
Right.
Okay, so you can't get away from it 100%, and that's fine. There is a level of coexistence that you yourself may find acceptable, right? If you think we've gone too far one way or another, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But I just think it's just, don't be afraid of this
Don't be
technology
afraid of the
as
future.
if it's something that's coming for you. It's
Yeah.
just a tool.
It's just a
It's
tool.
just a tool, and stories will live on
And yeah.
regardless.
So be an author, right? I was, just let your story matters, like Troy said. It's important enough to write it down, or it's important enough to read it out loud, whatever. It's important enough to share. There's many of us that have stories within us that are still waiting to get them out, and sometimes we might just be discouraged because of the prospect of putting them out there. Just understand and know there are people out there that are willing to help you publish that and get it out there. And even if it's not what you might be considered, like the New York Times best-selling author, you're not the next Dan Brown. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is that, like Troy said, you made a difference in somebody's life by sharing that story. And that's what we mean by your story matters. Somebody who reads that will find a connection with you in it. Somebody will be able to say, "Oh my gosh, that hit me in the right spot." So keep that in mind when you're writing your stories. And we love you. We appreciate all authors of all kinds, of all levels. We understand that there is like I said, it is a labor of love. It's not an easy job. Troy has said this. No, I'm going to coin this phrase from him, but basically there are much easier jobs to get into. You're not going to get into this job because you want to be rich. That is for sure. But this is a job that requires a level of love and appreciation, so that when you get into it, you know that the people that connect with you and buy your books really care, and that's where that connection comes from, that community. So focus on that. Stay away from the garbage and the doomsdayers. They don't belong here. They're not welcome in this tribe. So they can go find another tribe, and hopefully it's a private forum that's locked down. So that's my opinion. That's my opinion about that. And that's all there is to say about that. Period. All right. So anyway,
Period. That's it.
Yeah. I'm excited about the upcoming weeks. Hopefully Troy is in his new office the next time we record. We'll see if that
tomorrow is the plan.
Wow. Okay.
Tomorrow.
This is going to be an exciting thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Troy will be in his new studio, his new office tomorrow. Oh, yay. And then I'm gonna be working on some pretty amazing things for Alibi Syndicate and for Print Pro. We're very excited about like working with Ashley and getting her marketing program off the floor, and to help more and more authors find their space and their community. And we're looking forward to helping authors do that. Yeah, just if you need anything, you can reach out to us at printpro.com, Troy at printpro, or Stacey at printpro.com. We're happy to help you. And yeah, keep writing, guys. Just keep writing. Keep telling your stories. They matter, right? So anyway,
absolutely.
We'll see you guys on the flip side.
Yeah. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. All right. See you guys.